Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today, I am speaking to a woman who accomplished one of the biggest body transformations from battling anorexia. This athlete has a passion for fashion, beauty, and art with her bachelor's degree in fashion design, and she has grown in the fitness industry as a professional bikini athlete, fitness model, and Edge supplement sponsored athlete who has stepped on the prestigious stages like the Arnold Classic Australia, not just once, but 2 times. And it's our favorite Philly queen, Amber Callahan. How are you?
I'm good. And I love that you're calling me a Philly queen. I mean, that's awesome.
Hell yeah, of course. You're amazing. Yeah, I mean, for those of you guys who don't know, also, Amber was my first competition coach ever. And
oh my God, yes.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, but
It was a very long time ago.
Yeah, and I mean, you got me into the sport, so it's really cool.
I know I've been following your journey, and you've come a long way, yo, and you're killing it.
Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, there's so much I want to talk to you about. There's so much that I think other people want to know about you. But before we get into any of that, I have to ask you the one question that I ask everybody, and that is, what is going through your head right before you step on stage?
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm pretty nervous before stepping on stage. You might not be able to tell because I can hide it well, but I'm just like, oh my God, you better kill the friggin' game. You go up there, Philly, and show what you're made of. Like, I have to talk myself up, or I can't perform the way that I want to, you know? Because I'm so damn nervous. Yeah, I got to talk myself up. I'm like, please, God, let me not trip on this damn stage.
That's so funny. I never ever got that. I'm like, when I was there at Legends with you, didn't notice that at all. That's
yeah, a lot
so
of people
crazy.
can't tell. Yeah, but
I guess that's good, right?
I mean, thank God. I mean, my legs are shaking. I'm just like, okay, don't trip. All right, take your time. Let's go. Like,
that's so funny. Were you always like that?
you know what? Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I have always been on stage, like, ever since I was young. Like, I took dance for like 6, 7 years, but I don't know, man. It's something about, everyone's watching you, and, you really want to perform at your best.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a lot of pressure, like trying to get up there and hit every pose the way you want and perform the way that you want the judges to perceive you, to have your best package and show it off the way for all this hard work that you put in.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of pressure. Yeah.
And like, even just like, I mean, we put so much pressure on ourselves, let alone the pressure that comes from other people in the sport as well. And the title that you have also being a pro, I imagine that maybe that brings even more pressure, where it's like, I got to show up and be the best I can.
Yeah. It's like, it is. I really can't explain it to people unless you're in that position. Especially with social media, everyone's following you. I mean, they're expecting you to bring your best self.
Yeah,
it's an insane amount of pressure. Yeah.
Especially because like you share so openly as well. Like when you're sharing that journey constantly, I think people always want to know like what's next, like, oh, how did this go, and good luck. And then you're already standing there backstage like, well, I gave everything I could, like, let's hope it was enough. And now I have to walk on stage without trip.
Yeah.
Have you ever tripped on stage?
Actually, I haven't. And I'm knocking on wood that like
I
I
know, I
never
was just
do.
I was like, let's not start now.
That would be like super embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh, I literally like I've watched videos of girls doing it and like I try to like swipe away as soon as possible because then when I'm practicing posing, that's what I think about. And I'm like, I can't think about that person falling.
I
Um,
know.
it's bad. But okay. I really want to know because you brought it up. You're
Okay.
like heavily in the fitness industry world now, obviously. So
Hmm.
and I'm going to dive into a few different aspects of this, but I want to know like what do you think is the best part of being in it now? Because I feel like it's always evolving, but it's evolved so much lately with things like modeling and sponsorship opportunities and also just influencer status. So what do you think is the best part of that for you?
I'm gonna say the fact that social media has become pretty much the king of our time. I can share whatever I want about my journey, and it can hit thousands of people and affect them and how their day's going. And if maybe I motivate them in some way that makes me feel, fulfilled.
Yeah.
I love modeling and I love working out and stuff like that, but there's like more to it. And that is like being able to just impact somebody, whether that's one person or 1,000 people, on social media. I think that's one of the best things in fitness right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I was actually just talking to a few of our teammates and also Joe as well about social media and how it has a lot of dark sides to it too. But I like that you do find that light in the fact that we can impact people so much on such a great scale. And, some people might have a million something followers and some people might have 700. No matter what, you're reaching other people and you can make an impact. And I think that that's so powerful. And your story has done that for a lot of people. So I want to dive into that a little bit, which is like when you had anorexia, what was the moment that really allowed you to see that change was possible? And what actually led you kind of into making that change?
Well, I mean, it got to the point where like I was like fed up with feeling like crap all the time. And yeah, I was in denial. Like I was like, oh, I'm just skinny. I want to look perfect. I didn't know anything about working out and dieting and all that shit. And I didn't even know what competing was. I just knew that I wanted to look like a fitness model. I'm like,
Mm.
all right, well, I'm going to have to join a gym and like hire a personal trainer if this is what I want to get into. Because I was like inspired by other fitness models like Ingrid and some other competitors of her time.
Mm.
And that was the turning point, was seeing on social media, even though it wasn't that big around that time, but it was getting there. Like it was like the startup of
Mhm.
like, you know, social media and Fitspiration and all that. And I just knew that I wanted to look like that. And I was like, all right, well, you're going to have to suck it up and learn how to work out and eat right. And it took years, like it took years to get to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine like the amount of discomfort that would come from going from one lifestyle extreme to almost another. And even just the consumption of food that we eat as competitors. How
Oh
did
my God.
yeah, like when you found out that was how you were gonna have to live, like what were some of those things that you went through?
Well, I still have my days where I'm, fighting with myself about food, but I have to like talk myself out of it. I'm not perfect. I'm human. Like I
Mhm.
still have my times that I'm like thinking like that, like I did back then, like, oh, you shouldn't be eating this, you shouldn't be eating that, even though I have to as an IFBB pro. Like I have to eat 5 to 6 meals a day. I have to eat carbs, I have to eat fats, like to be able to look like an athlete. Um, it's still a struggle. I remember when Joe sent me my plan and I was looking at all that food and I was like, ooh, wow.
Mhm.
I really have to eat all that?
And did you?
Yeah, but it took a lot of time for me to build up to that. Like I remember, like I would try to get all those meals in, and I'd be missing meals some days because I'm like, I'm not even hungry, man. Like I can't even eat this.
Yeah.
Like it took a while for me to even hit 6 meals a day. Because when I was learning how to train and work out with my trainer and stuff, like I was probably eating like 3 times a day, like healthy, clean food, but not like now. Now is
Mhm.
on a whole nother level. And
Yeah.
people still, I feel like everybody has this like perception that like competitors don't eat. No, we have to eat. Like, and it's a lot of food at the end of the day.
Yes, so true. And then your food intake can increase. Like I personally love it when like you come out of like an improvement season or a building season or whatever, and now your body can handle even more food. Like, yes,
Oh
please.
yeah.
Like that's a great
Yeah.
feeling.
I know, right?
And like people
No,
will
I feel
always
you
be
on
like,
that.
"Oh, you must not be eating anything." It's like, no, like if I didn't eat anything, I wouldn't be able to build the muscle that's actually allowing me to burn this fat and build this body and like have these like meet the needs and the criteria that's necessary in the sport, right?
I know, but people think we like survive off of like little bits of food, and it's not. That's not even true. Far from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like a lot of that belief comes from like the conditioning of like subconsciously not only growing up but like sometimes in like magazines. It's just misinformation, right? Like we're taught to believe that less is actually more. In terms of losing
Definitely.
weight or looking a certain way rather than like maximizing the potential of our bodies. So I think that there's a big shift in the focus lately, but I definitely like that you're sharing like that journey for you, even just getting up to 6 meals a day was challenging. And I also would like to know if there was feedback from people in your circle or in your life when they found out that you were going to get into bodybuilding, like if they were like, that seems like the opposite end of the spectrum, if they were happy for you, like what was going through, what were some of the feedback basically?
Well, a lot of people were for it for me because I had built a foundation of muscle. So having the combination of working out and like getting on stage and modeling up there, like they were like, "Yo, that's for you. You got to do that. You got to try to compete." And
That's
so I
awesome.
did. Like I didn't really have anyone negatively, commenting about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, "Yo, try it out." And honestly, I was not expecting at all to do well. I mean, I wanted to do well, like I was determined, but to get like my pro card and stuff, like that was not even. I had it in mind, but it wasn't like, "Oh my god, like I'm going to be a pro someday." Like no, I was like, "Let's just try this out and see what happens." Like, and I knew I wanted to join Team Edge from day one.
I was
I
gonna
would had
ask
been
you when that
following
happened.
Ingrid. Yeah, I actually had been following Ingrid for years. Already knew who she was. So when I saw she had a team, I was like, "Ooh, I gotta join that. Like, how do I get started? Like, let's go." You know,
Was
like I want
he
to
like
be
your
a
first
competitor.
coach?
Joe, yeah.
Yeah. So did he help you through that transition or did that come later?
Well, Joe, no, like Joe, I didn't start competing until about, I'm gonna say, so 2013,
Hmm.
2014 was when I joined Team Edge. Right around that time. So I just contacted them through the internet. Like they didn't know who I was.
Right.
So
Wow.
yeah, but yeah, being with Team Edge has really had an amazing impact on my life, my health, my career, everything. Like I have no regrets ever being with them.
And that's why you're still there.
Of course.
I love that. No, I seriously like I feel that on a deep level. I've only been now with them for like a year and a well, more than a year and a half, but it's like it really is a family and the connections made is like I don't think it's beatable really. And granted, like there's other teams and whatnot, but there's something about ours. And um I, there's so much now that I'm wanting to ask you and like all these questions are coming through my head. So like I'll try to address it one at a time, but like how far into your recovery were you before you reached out to them?
So I started my recovery in like December of 2009. So all the way up to 2014. And I
Wow.
think it was around the spring. Yeah, I was like, okay, so I'm going to start, getting into competing. So
That's
like
awesome.
4 to 5 years in, yeah, like I had built some muscle. I didn't look terrible, and I knew I wanted to get into competing. So I didn't want to just jump into doing shows. Like I knew I had to like build myself up from being like 90 pounds.
Yeah.
Like there was no way. Yeah.
That's incredible though. I mean, just the journey in general to go that much time and then choose to commit even further to something like it's obvious that you really took the time needed before you could even like jump into that. And I love that you sought the knowledge of like someone that you were inspired by for so long. And you touched on this a little bit in terms of how joining Team Edge also helped you so much with your career as well. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now outside of sponsorships, modeling, competing, etc.?
Well, right now I'm getting ready to have my own fitness classes in the
Woo!
Philadelphia area. Yeah, you know what? It's something I haven't even announced on social media or anything like that, because the gym that two of my friends are opening up, they haven't opened it up yet. Probably in the next few weeks, that's going to be happening. But yeah, I'll be teaching my own classes there, and also taking on new clients and offering posing seminars and sessions. And it's another step in my journey that I haven't exactly taken yet, because I've just really put my heart and soul into competitions for like the last 3 years.
Yeah.
That's I was like eating and living and breathing shows for forever. Like, man, I want to take a dive into something else and giving back to somebody that, wants my help or is in need of, reaching their goals. Like, I want to be there. I want to be that person.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Because right now, I mean, you're making such an impact, like just by showing up and being who you are and doing what you do, and indirectly just in the person that you are makes such an impact. And now I just see like this is going to be so amazing for anybody who does end up doing this. Even when I had you as a coach, it was like such a good experience. Like seriously, like you were there, like really helping me posing with the Skype. You were absolutely there for me via email all the time. Like there's really there's something so special about having a coach and knowing that you're so passionate about giving back. It makes it even better for the people who are going to experience that. So I love that. Now obviously you touched a little bit on this, that you have been putting your heart and soul into competing for like 3 years straight, and that's a lot of time, a lot of energy. So what has led you into this improvement season?
Well, the last two shows, they didn't go as I wanted. There was no top fives, and that's okay. I have accepted that. It's going to happen. It was bound to happen that I wasn't going to get a top five.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, we put our bodies through so much in competing that it just starts to take a toll on you at some point. You have low moods, your menstrual cycle's off. Um, you really can't stay in a deficit of calories for that long. So it just, I don't know, man. I mean, I knew that I had to take an off season soon. like I was feeling that
Mhm.
burnt out feeling. Like I didn't want to go to the gym anymore, even though I was still forcing myself to go.
Right.
And I don't like feeling like I have to force myself to go to the gym, because I love working out, man. Like that's like my thing.
Right.
That's like, yeah, it's like my therapy.
Exactly.
Um, but it came at a really good time this off season.
That's
Like I'm learning what I need to do. It's definitely good being able to eat a cheeseburger every week. Every week,
yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't get that on prep.
Mm-mm.
Maybe like
I
once
know.
in a blue moon.
I've never gotten a refeed. I'm like, what?
Are you serious?
Never. So, Joe, if you're listening, hook it up.
Dude, seriously.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
What the heck? But at the same time,
Wow.
like right now I have like steak 3 times. Well, I get like steak 3 times in a row this week, so I'm not trying to complain too much. But like a burger, I know, I get that. So, um, we could talk about burgers all day. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
So, okay, so you're learning a lot about what you need to do. What types of feedback were you getting when you stopped getting those top placings that you were pretty much used to getting?
That I have to come in fuller. And like I knew they were gonna say that. Because I was getting like, it was just to the point where I just was looking too lean and flat, and they like that nice full muscle, and like I
Mm.
just couldn't do it anymore. My body didn't want it. Even though I
Yeah,
was like eating all this food to fill out, it just wasn't, yeah, it just wasn't working.
totally. I
So that
mean,
is, yeah,
your body was like ready for this break, it sounds like.
it really was, man. And like I like it now because like I don't know, I'm kind of like learning like what works for me,
Mhm.
between the working out and the eating and seeing how my body reacts to things. Like now I can do that. Like when you're in competition prep, you're like, okay, like I have to eat chicken, asparagus, and turkey, and like I don't know. I like to see like how's my body react when I'm eating sushi or like a cheeseburger every once in a while. Like I
Yeah.
want to see that. Yeah.
Totally. I was like very curious about how you were handling the process for yourself. Like, are you giving yourself like okay, I think a lot of competitors, including myself and lots of people we know and just people in general who compete, struggle with finding that. And I hate using the word balance because it shouldn't even be called balance. It's just life. Like you just eat food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so how have you been adjusting to going from this is the only way to eat and train right now to, oh, I have options.
Well, it's definitely hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't like the word balance either, because like I feel like I don't know. As a competitor, like I'm still training like I'm on prep. I mean, the
Yeah.
cardio is like way less. Yeah, the cardio is just way less than it ever was, like 15, 20 minutes now. But
That's awesome.
I don't know. Like I'm still working out 5, 6 days a week. I don't know. This is like a lifestyle. Like I'm used
Right.
to working out that much. I want to work out 5, 6 times a week. That's what I like to do.
And now you don't feel forced, but then that puts you in a flow state. So then you're like, this is awesome. Yeah,
Right.
that's great. And in terms of food, like, question if you are like out and about and someone's, this is so, I don't even know why I'm asking this question. Maybe because I've been on prep for so long. But you're like out and about and someone's like, hey, we got free cookies in exchange for a free hug. Are you going to take a cookie?
No. It,
Interesting. See, this is like, is it just you don't like cookies or you wouldn't just do it because it's like so rooted in you? It's your lifestyle. It's not interesting. Like, explain that mindset.
well, like, so I follow like a gluten-free, dairy-free diet,
Oh, I see. That's
and
just
like,
why.
yeah.
Okay.
So like, yeah, obviously, probably the cookie is not gluten-free. I'm probably gonna get sick off it. Like, I'm just not gonna eat it. It's not worth
Yeah,
it. Now,
totally.
maybe if it was gluten-free,
I was gonna
dairy-free,
say,
all that free.
if it fit the needs of your body. If it was a
Yeah,
piece
then
of
like
bacon. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, like I'd probably like eat it if it was gluten free and dairy free.
Okay. So that's yes, okay, I got you. It's so much more about like how is this gonna make my body feel rather than like, nah, I can't because I'm on prep. So yeah,
Right. Yeah.
that's good. I think it's one of the things that I've been learning myself is like if this really is a lifestyle and a long term journey, something that someone's really committed to, enjoys the process, finds so much passion in it, then having, let's say, if you're eating like 6 meals a day every day for years and you have like three non prep style meals, is it actually going to kill you? No, it's life, right? So it's like if
Yeah.
curious, like you can recognize that there is your body can eat food and like it's a really great thing when you're not necessarily, I guess, prepping for a specific date to allow that. And that was something I took 1 week off the stage and I was like, well, the past couple months, that is because I had done a building season, but I mean recently, and I was like so judgmental of myself and I was like, I've come too
Oh
far
yeah.
for this, you know, like,
Mhm.
but then
Oh God, I get the same way.
yeah, like you have something and you're like, that makes me feel like crap. Why did I even choose to eat it when I know it wasn't going to make me
Mhm.
feel good? But it's like, then you go back to like the freedom of it and you're like, okay. But then I feel like that, normalcy kind of starts to kick in where you're like, you recognize that this is not something that you just do. It's actually like a part of your lifestyle. It's like easy, like you're a competitor, you're a pro competitor who makes those decisions. And like for you, like I mean for any competitor really who's committed to like a full on prep, I feel like there's something about being able to recognize like if you truly believe that you are a person who has an identity not necessarily attached to this, but someone who is healthy and chooses to fuel their body and move their body in ways that serve them, it's highly unlikely that you're going to sabotage yourself.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
So what's like if you were to look at this from like the perspective of like coaching and whatnot, right? Because I obviously came to you when you're my coach. I go to Joe, and now I would like to know, like, you as a pro. I've always wondered if you're sending emails to the coaches, like, "Oh my gosh, this is what's going on," or "I'm thinking about this." Like, do you ever reach out and kind of in like I was like, oh, I'm going through these struggles.
Oh my God. If you ask Joe this question, he will tell you I'm probably the most annoying one.
Really?
Well, like, I don't know, because like I have my time. Like I'm my own worst critic. I always said that. You know, I'm looking at myself every day. I'm looking at myself on prep, my progress pictures. I'm comparing past progress pictures with today's progress pictures, and then I'm, going to Joe and I'm like, I don't look 100 right now. Like, what's going on? Like, he has to calm me down. He'd be like, Amber, chill. You look good. Like, chill. You know. So yes, Oh man, I struggle with that a lot. More than
Wow.
people know. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely more than people know because like and this is not to be like seen as good or bad, but like just judging based off of like the things that you post and share, like I was almost afraid to ask you that question. I was like, she's gonna be like, nah, I don't have issues, but like but she
Oh
said it, I
no.
have to ask her, I wanted to know. And
Yes.
yeah, that's really good to know. And I think that's going to be so helpful and impactful for a lot of the, I believe, amateurs and also pros listening, because I think that there's this sometimes like this connection to who we are as a competitor that makes us feel like we can or can't do certain things. Like sometimes I'm like, I can't send this email, like he'll judge me, or like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll be weak, like my ego starts talking. But then I'm like, I need
Yep.
help, and that's okay to ask for help.
And it is, because you're going to have days like that. I do all the time. I just don't, I try to keep that stuff to myself, or I just, I talk to Joe about it, like how I'm feeling, because there's many days like that where I'm just not feeling 100, or I don't think I look good, or I'm not going to kill the game when I get on stage the following week. It's a number of things. I go through it all the time.
Yeah, that's really honestly like I feel like I'm being so selfish even asking because I'm like, wow, this is like really helpful for me right now. But again, a big reason why I
No, I
started,
feel you.
it's like I wanted to know those insights and details because like they're the things that like when I started this podcast, I was thinking of people like you. I'm like, what are they going through? What is she really thinking? Like, is she struggling like I'm struggling? Like, is this normal? So I appreciate you opening up and sharing that. I really do.
Oh yeah, of course. I keep it 100, and yeah, I'm not perfect. Uh, I don't always think I look good, and yeah, that's the struggles of being on a professional level, even. And like when I'm sending emails to Joe, like sometimes I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I'm writing this email and I'm probably going to annoy the hell out of him, but oh God,
All
like
of
I
us.
need him right now.
Yeah. And then you're hitting refresh like every second after you're like, there's a response already.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Like part of me is like, we gotta send this episode to him. Another part of me is like, we can't send this episode to
Yo, that's exactly how I think all the time.
I love it. So even just like branching off of that, it's like I want to know now, like what's been the most like the best part about becoming a pro and the least glamorous? Because I know, like guys, honestly, even before you answer this, I'm gonna interrupt you before you even get started. Amber seriously does keep it so real. I just met you in Vegas, which is hilarious because I felt like I already knew you, and that was like such a weird experience to be honest. But like, um, she keeps it so real. Like from the moment we met, it's just very genuine person. So what you're hearing right now is like it's Amber. Like she's amazing, and I'm so grateful. Like you're just so easy to connect with. So anyway, back to the question. Yeah, best and least glamorous and most glamorous part about becoming a pro.
The least glamorous part would probably be the insane amount of pressure that is now on you being at that pro level. It's I don't know. It's something that we had talked about earlier, but it's not like a very glamorous side. Like I said, I struggle every day with how I look, what I think about myself. So when you become a pro, I feel like that I don't know. It's a lot to take in.
Mm.
You people are expecting you to come on that stage looking like a pro, and you're going up against people that have been competing for years, and that's probably not so glamorous side of it. Is this the insane amount of pressure? Now the glamorous side of it, I don't know. I mean, I guess having that pro card and wow, like I can now be on a pro stage. Like that's like that feeling of having a pro card and being able to inspire others. Like I think that's like a real glamorous side of it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's like
Mhm.
very obvious that you highly value the inspiration of like others and helping others in their own journeys, and that's so clear. I mean, even just in the way that you've presented everything today too. And when you talk about like the amplification of pressure basically and people's expectations, do you experience that in your hometown as well? Like do people like, did you have any fears about like, oh, now that I'm taking time off the stage, like maybe people will think different things, like anything like that go through your head?
Oh, hell yeah.
Mm,
Because then they're like, well, what is she doing now? Like, why doesn't she's not really shredded? Like, what's going on? Like, people start thinking all these things, and I try not thinking like that, because it's just it's not important.
right.
But yeah, I mean, that does go through my head because people are used to seeing you a certain way, and when you're not that way, it's almost like they think you're failing, and you're not. Like you're trying to
Right.
improve onto the next competition season. Yeah,
You're
like
like,
I know
watch
I'm not
me.
going to be right. I'm not going to be mad shredded like all the time. Like I can't. Like
Right.
yeah, am I still gonna have like a little bit of abs? Like, of course. Like, I have an athletic build. Like, I'll always look athletic. I'm not gonna be like crazy ripped, 24/7.
Yeah,
Like, that's not realistic.
totally. And I mean,
Mhm.
I think that's something so good to like just always have constant reminder. And I think obviously like that detachment from what others think, because I remember like even just coming off of like you come off of like a few shows or like one or two or whatever, people start making comments and it's cool because you love what you do anyways, you're happy to talk to people about it. And then it's always reminding yourself like not everyone understands the process and the journey that's required, and this is so long term. This is a sport that requires so much improvement and time and energy and like manipulation of things that will change the way that we look and feel, and all that stuff comes into play. So it's like it's hard to actually stand in front of someone if they ask you a question like, "Oh, you're not looking as shredded." Well, let me explain why. Like, like it's just
I
not.
know.
It's like,
Right.
okay, like yeah, you're right. Like I don't know what to say to you because it's like sometimes it's like there's no need to explain ourselves. It's like, oh, it's a process, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to grow, and you can't grow when you're crazy shredded, competition ready. Like, you just can't. And some people just like don't understand that. And well, to those people, I just ignore it. Like, whatever. You're what you think doesn't. It's not important.
Right.
You know, what's important is myself and bringing my best self to the next season.
I love that. What are you planning for the next season? Like how long is this improvement season looking like for you?
I don't have a time limit, but yeah, I want to get on stage next year. This
Awesome.
year, well, in the next few months, like obviously I'm taking off, but probably come back maybe in the winter or the spring.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to
Mhm.
watch all that unfold, honestly. And I think that it's going to be just cool to get your perspective. I mean, hearing it now, it's like kind of like towards the beginning stages, and then to be able to watch that even further is going to be really, really cool. So I'm super excited for that. And I'd love to hear like what's one piece of advice that you would give to people who are thinking about competing and then people who are currently competing and looking to be
I would say to trust the process. I know, like this is something like Joe would say.
pro.
You can't rush things, and you just have to trust the process. Trust your coaches. You know, invest your time wisely. You don't want to rush into something, get on stage, and you don't do well. Like, take the time, do your research on what teams that you think would be a really good fit for you, or I don't know, coaches you follow on Instagram that you think that you could work with. Um, I mean, that's what I did, and yeah, like I have my moments where like I'm trying to rush, my off season, like, oh, come on, let's hurry up, like, but no, like I need to like step back, take a second, and trust the process, and then move forward. You know,
Yeah, that's really great advice.
not yeah, you don't want to rush into getting on stage or trying to get your pro card because of whatever. Just, take your time. It takes a lot of patience to get to, whatever your goals is, whether that's getting your pro card or you're just going to step on stage for the first time ever. Yeah, I want to rush it.
I love that. Yeah, that's definitely something that I'm feeling like in my core because I personally like at the beginning of this season, I was like, let's go. Like, I want to get here. I want to go all the way to this. And I just want to keep blah, blah. But it's like when I actually like took a step back and like evaluated like why I'm doing this and like the patience aspect is a huge deal as well. Like, I realized like why would I be in a rush with something that I just love so much anyways? And like to honor the sport as the process that it is like a very respectful thing you as well. And I think like you're a very good example of that. Like you have had the patience from the very beginning, like what we talked about, all the way from your anorexia to all the way through your amateur, all the way to your pro, and now through your pro seasons. Like it doesn't stop. And I love that you shared that patience part, because I think it really is key. Like trusting that process is like the only way we can actually get through it and feel good about it and know that we're heading in the right direction. So I really appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing so much just today in general. Like I feel like we could talk forever, and I I feel like I'm like,
I
oh my
know,
gosh, I
right?
have to have you. Like I want to have you back on the podcast eventually, and like we could talk more about this after, but like yeah, it would be amazing. And can you just tell everybody where they can connect with you and just tell you how much they love this and benefit from it? Because I can honestly say, and I'm not sure if any of the other pros who have been on are listening to this, but like Amber, this has been seriously so good. Like I can't even begin to explain like how much value you've just brought to the table. So I really appreciate it, and I want everybody to be able to love on you for that. So can you tell them where they can find you?
Of course. And, like I love talking to you, and I want to come back onto the podcast because I feel like there's a lot of friggin' topics that we have to cover. But I'm very, like, more active than ever on Instagram at Amber J Callahan _. That's just like my main account. I like to just focus just on Instagram.
Cool.
I do have a Facebook and stuff like that, but like Instagram is like my thing,
Yes. Yes. Okay. So you guys heard it here. Follow her on Instagram. Make sure you go and tell her how much you appreciated her coming onto this podcast. And of course, if you guys have any questions for us, for her, whatever, shoot them through. We'll make sure, I'm sure she's happy to help you. I mean, she lives for this stuff, and it's so amazing just to watch her and to be able to connect with you like this. Amber, again, thank you so much. And everybody listening, if you like this episode, make sure to comment, let us know, subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And of course, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this. Just make it awesome.